What's going on, everybody? Clint here. Just wanted to check in and give all you faithful subscribers here a thumbs up and see how you're all doing. I did my post weigh-in show for odds.com and I wanted to just touch base and give a little extra clarity. Once again, huge shout out and thank you to all of you who constantly support me and the show. We got a couple of small tips last week. I've got your names written down. I will give you guys a shout out next time around, I promise. I did not come prepared today. But what I wanted to do is give just a little bit of additional clarification on some of the things I did. So after I watched the weigh-ins, I added on some plays. I put a little sprinkle, a little 2-unit shot on Yanez by submission. Now, the reason that I did that is not because I actually think he's necessarily going to win by submission, but because the line is outrageous. He is fully expected to knock out his opponent here, and I think he's probably going to knock his opponent out. But it's 16-1. That's insane. He's fighting a 4-2 fighter, a guy who has made his career so far on his durability. So if you end up hitting a guy like that, rocking him, wobbling him, but you don't quite put him out, you know what you do? You snatch a neck. So I've got Yanez in a parlay. There is no profitable way to play him by knockout because that line is juiced to hell because everyone thinks he's gonna win by knockout. But there's an outside shot that he ground and pounds this kid. There's an outside shot that he jumps on the back and he snatches up a rear naked choke. Or maybe his opponent is rocked and dives in on a single leg and gets hooked in a guillotine. Yanez is no stranger to the mat. He's already got 2 submission wins on his record. I think a little sprinkle on the submission prop just for funsies, that'll do. I wouldn't mind cashing that one, but I also am not going to mind if he wins by knockout because, of course, we'll hit the parlay that he's in, and that's for a much larger unit count. I also sprinkled Justin Ledet in round 3. And I want to talk about this one because I've had a few comments on it. And I've got this weird spider senses tingling sensation on the back of my neck that last week Sam Alvey bet is the exact same as this week's Ledet. And I'm very, very tempted to put a full unit on Ledet straight. Let me tell you. We talked about this when we broke it down. We know he's not an overly creative striker or anything like that. But this guy is athletic. He's big, he's long, he's got a reach advantage here. He is durable, and his opponent comes out like a bat out of hell early and then slows down immediately. I do not think his opponent is deserving of the price tag that he's got. So this is another spot, like I said, just like Sam Alvey last week, that you've just got a fighter who is not deserving of this price tag. And I am very, very tempted to go ahead and hit Ledet on the flip side of this thing. I want to see how high that line will get. He's sitting as low as plus 250 out there, but he's also as high as plus 320. And if I can get Ledet over 300, I might take a shot on Justin Ledet here because he knows his job is on the line. The way I saw him at the weigh-ins, he's got that fire. He's amped up. He's ready to go. And like I said, we know how durable this guy is. I don't know that he is going to get clipped and knocked out and dropped by this guy in the first round. A former 185er masquerading as a 205er. I don't know that his power, his wear like a Johnny Walker's is, for instance. And Ledet was able to survive what Rakic did for a full 15 minutes without going down. So he's got the experience. He's fought much higher level guys. Jacoby is not on that level in my opinion. So I might end up playing Ledet straight later on. Don't be shocked if that one ends up getting locked in tonight or tomorrow morning. But Ledet round 3. I sprinkled that one again just like the Yanez prop. The line is just redonkulous. I've got a weird feeling Ledet is going to use his grappling in this fight, wear this guy down, and then when he starts to slow in round 2 or round 3, he might snatch up a neck on him. Ledet in round 3 is 25-1. 25-1. I don't see Ledet coming out and busting this guy up in the first round unless he has a complete adrenaline dump and he gets him to the floor in round 1 early when these guys are both dry. But I think that Jacoby has the gas tank to survive at least round 1. We're going to be looking more at round 2 or round 3. Round 3 is the one with the long shot odds, so I went ahead and put a little sprinkle on that. And like I said, I may end up locking in Ledet as a straight play by itself. I added Cole Williams, Jason Witt under 2.5. Plus 154, that one is one that I really like the more that I look at it because we know Jason Witt's got potential chin issues, and with Cole Williams coming in way overweight the way that he did, that's either going to aid him in the knockout or that's going to hurt him in the gas tank. So either Witt wins inside the distance, I'm actually thinking submission, or Cole Williams wins by knockout. I love that under 2.5. And I've got Witt by sub for a half unit as well. The reason I did that one is because Cole Williams has 2 professional losses. Both of them are by submission. With the condition that he is in, and with the interview I heard with Jason Witt saying that he's actually looking to cook this guy on the ground, that's the game plan. That's the game plan for Witt, is he wants to come in, he wants to take him down, he wants to smash him and grind that gas tank out, and then when someone is gassed, when someone is tired, you just give in. You're not going to grind out another 8 minutes. You're not going to go into round 3 thinking, let me just get through this 5, make it to a decision. No, this guy has shown some quit before. This guy has shown some ability to get snatched up before. Witt is the type of fighter who's technical enough and good enough. Training with a guy like James Krause, he'll be able to find that submission. He'll be able to find that neck. He will capitalize on this guy having a bad gas tank and quitting, and he will snatch up that submission. So I got Jason Witt by submission, and he's at plus 670 by submission. I like that. I like that a lot. Obviously, something like a ground and pound TKO with back control, that could hurt us. He could catch him in a situation like that, but we've got the under 2.5 that covers us for a full unit there. The submission prop is just a half unit. I think the plus 670 line is good enough that a half unit is solid enough. We'll make damn near 4 units of profit if that one ends up coming through. I added Strickland inside the distance. I talked about it on the Monday show that I wasn't sure I could believe in Strickland. You know, I didn't know if he was going to be the kind of guy that showed up the way we wanted to see him after his wreck, after a 2-year layoff. But honestly, looking at the condition he's in, he looks like he's been working. He added some muscle. He's really big. He outsizes his opponent here, and his opponent's another one of these guys that looks flabby and missed weight. So I fully expect Strickland to get in here and do the dang thing. And I think inside the distance at plus 165, I like that a whole lot more than laying minus 350 on him. Now, if you do want to do something a little bit more safe, Strickland in a parlay is not a bad option. This card is just massive favorites, massive favorites, massive favorites. So if you want to do a parlay of some kind, you realize you got to eat some chalk. Because if you're going to put him with Alexander Hernandez, he's 4-1 now. Put him with Greg Hardy, he's 350 now. You know, getting a guy like Strickland on a parlay, that's fantastic, but you're going to have to pay for it this week. And honestly, Strickland is a guy, after seeing him at the weigh-ins and his opponent come in out of shape, I expect him to get the finish here. So if you want to put him in a parlay, I don't hate it. It's just a matter of where the value is and getting the right price. I'd rather not lay chalk on a parlay. I've already done it a couple times this week, so I'm going to take Strickland inside the distance, and I think he gets a submission as well, honestly. I think we're going to see a lot of gassed, out-of-shape fighters not being able to deal with the grappling of their opponents, and I think we see a couple of necks get snatched up here. The final play that I added was Greg Hardy versus Maurice Greene over 1.5. The reasoning behind this one is Greg Hardy has become far more technical these days. He's not the wild, crazy bomber we've seen before. He is patient. He looks to kick the legs. He tries to stalk his opponents, walk them down. And Maurice Greene came in the best shape we've seen him in a couple of fights. Maurice Greene is a guy that tends to gas out, but we see him run out of gas around round 3. And his stand-up game is relatively harmless. Greg Hardy has an absolute brick for a head. So even though Maurice Greene doesn't particularly like getting hit, the slow pace with which Greg Hardy starts, I think, is really going to benefit this fight lasting a little bit longer. On top of that, the conditioning of Maurice Greene, we see that completely correlate with chins. If you're in great shape, if you're in great condition, you tend to recover better and quicker and come back. So if he gets clipped with something early, I think he'll be able to recover and stay in the fight because of the good shape that he is in. Now, Greg Hardy, people are going to have questions about the weigh-in, and I spoke about this on my post-weigh-in recap on odds.com. Make sure you go check that out for me. Please head on over to odds.com. Directly supports me. Greg Hardy, I don't think he missed weight. Honestly, I don't. And I know they made him cut again, but this dude was dancing on the scale after he made the weight the second time. This is a huge, huge man that cuts down to 265. It's not a hard cut for him, but he does have to cut to get there because he's so freaking big. But the kind of body language he was exhibiting, how excited he was, how he was dancing, and he was like doing this thing on the scale, like, this is not a man who's sucked himself out to death to try to make the weight. This is not a guy that gave everything he had to get to 265. I think there was a slight error in calculation, and he just had to run another mile or two. So I don't think there's going to be a problem with Greg Hardy. I don't think he's going to come out there looking like a shell of himself. But if he does, if he's even a little bit encumbered, Again, he's not going to go out wild man style. We saw against Volkanovski, he was completely outgunned. He was completely outlanded. But what he did is he relied on his defensive striking. He shelled up, he took everything, and he stuck to the game plan. And that thing went all 3 rounds. Greg Hardy by decision is a round prop that I am very, very interested in because of what I'm seeing here. But I think that if Greene does have the upper hand, Greg Hardy will simply stay safe and at least get us to cash that over 1.5. So once again, thank you all very much for the support. Make sure you subscribe here to me on my YouTube channel if you want to, directly support me, that kind of thing. I don't do a lot here on this YouTube channel, but I like to do these little candid back and forths with you guys. Thank you a little bit for the direct support that you give me. Of course, tips and donations are always appreciated. We've been on a little downhill skid since our last winning event here. It's been all, small shots and mostly some betting mistakes, errors of my own that have kind of cost us winning nights here the last couple of weeks. So really crossing my fingers for a big bounce back spot this week. I like my reads, I like the bets, and I think we've got a couple of spots where we've found some not only value, but good abilities to cash the bets. You know what I mean? Not a spot where we thought we had value with Justin Gaethje and it just completely whiffs and we lose on the night. Not like that. I think we have value spots that more than likely should be hitting and putting some money in our pockets. So good luck, everybody. Thank you again one more time. As always, y'all are the best. Can't wait to see you tomorrow.